it's time for us to get this webinar started. So Patrick, if you could join us live via the video, there you are. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Just fine, Eric. Isn't this great? Hey, we tell people this is can be a home-based business. You and I just happen to be at our homes offices running this webinar today. But I have an office. It's about 15 minutes from here, but I don't like to go in because I can get the refrigerator pretty easily right here.
Well, I tell you what, your commute from your home office to the refrigerator is much better than your commute from the office, your home office to the office. So,
Boy, that's a fact. You know, we do have licensees, of course, who've opened up their own offices, commercial office space. They've hired employees. I mean, they've got a real big booming business. But the great thing is you can keep this as small as you want to. So it fits just about everybody's lifestyle.
you bet. Patrick, I know we want to get into this because obviously we want to talk about how much money can be made, but part of that is how can I earn my investment back? And I know that you and I have done some webinars in the past on how quickly one can get their investment back. And so, you know, with the package that we have at $26,990, I know that we've talked about that with just one doctor, that can actually get your return on investment. You want to share a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, you know, people don't realize that this is such a profitable business. I've interviewed licensees. As you know, Eric, I do licensee interviews all the time. I did one last week with a licensee, and I do these on a regular basis because I want people to hear from real people who've been through our training, they've graduated, they've gotten certified as a medical revenue manager, and they've gone out and started their own business. And many of them have told us that they've gotten their return on the investment in our business package in some of them in 6 months, some of them a year. You know, it just depends. But if you get your money back that you've invested in a new business in the first 2 years, you're doing terrific.
Yes. Well, you know, when you start doing billing for a doctor's reimbursement back to you, what you actually invoice the doctor is going to generate anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe as high as $5,000 or $6,000. So, folks, you can see, and you're going to see these numbers here in just a little bit, that your return on your investment could be within 5 or 6 months, within just depending on what kind of doctor you end up with. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about here, Patrick, is basically the income potential, and we're very careful to talk about the potential and not what a guarantee of what you can make, because obviously we want to make sure that we are talking about the correct ROI, the return on investment potential.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, folks, because here's our disclaimer. You know, this is the small print, okay? All the numbers and figures that we're about to give you are based on our experience that we've heard from our own licensees. But it's no guarantee that you're going to make this kind of money. Either, I mean, you could be making more, you could be making less. It's kind of like those weight loss ads, right, Eric? We can't guarantee that you're going to lose 30 pounds in your first month, but there have been people who've done it, right? So we're going to tell you some realistic figures. We try to keep it as real as we can and not blow it out of proportion. I could tell you, folks, that this is a six-figure business. I could also tell you that it's a seven-figure business because we've got licensees who've brought in that kind of revenue. But it doesn't mean that you're going to do it. So it's all based on, you know, your own experience, your background, your abilities, how hard you work, whether you get up in the morning, you know, things like that.
Well, I mean, we could actually do an entire webinar of what it takes just to get out of the house and start getting out there and getting that business. So we may want to talk about that one at a later time. But I figured let's, so folks, what we're showing you is our website. And if you just go to our website at absystems.com, you see it down below there. And then you go across that little title bar where it says About Us, and then you go to Income Potential. Once you get there, we're going to be looking at Medical Billing Income Calculator. So Patrick, you know, we're not trying to blow the numbers up. We're talking one doctor that will see 25 patients a day. Now, again, you've been to the doctor, I've been to the doctor. It seems like there's 25 patients there when we're going to see the doctor.
Yeah, so it's not unrealistic for a doctor to see 20, 25 patients in a day's time. And again, folks, since this is a calculator, you can plug in your own numbers. We've just got some plugged in that we're going to talk about here today. We start out there with one because we want you to see, okay, if I just sign one doctor up, even one doctor out of all the doctors in your area, all the specialties that are out there, you know, what kind of earnings could you have? And then we'll go from there and show you that you could make, of course, a lot more.
Yeah, so let's look at what we've plugged in here, folks. We've got one doctor that sees 25 patients a day. They're open 5 days a week. you would charge them an average percentage of about 6%. Now, then there's that average claim amount of $100. So folks, there is what's called the billed amount and then what's the reimbursed amount. And this kind of sits right there in that area where we talk about the reimbursed amount. So this is pretty close and pretty typical of what you're going to see as a return when you start doing that billing. So let's click on submit right there. And there's the numbers. Patrick, why don't you talk through those?
Yeah, and folks, I don't know about you, but I'm having to increase the size of this screen here. You can adjust go to webinar. You can get rid of our videos completely if you didn't want to see our faces, for example, by just enlarging. Look around and see if there's a way to blow that up so you can see it. But this one, as you can see, is saying that with one doctor, your total gross monthly income could be at $39,000 a year, servicing one office. Folks, that's $3,250 a month income. And wait till you see how little time you'd have to put in to earn that kind of money. We'll talk about that here as we break this down further, but that's the number for one doctor, about $39,000. Now, that may not excite you. I've given these webinars, Eric, where I literally said, well, how many of you'd like to make $100,000 a year? And nobody raises their hand because they want to make $1 million a year. But we're trying to be realistic here, folks, and we're just starting small. So for some people, Eric, that probably replaces their current income.
Well, it could, and folks, like I said, I mean, your income, what you're going to make could be anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 a month. It could be 5 or 6. You can see here with one doctor. Now, this is just a general practitioner. We're not even dealing with anybody like a specialist, like would be a podiatrist or a urologist or any of the specialties, the ologist, as we would say out there. So this is kind of like the lowest amount that you would be thinking if you start doing billing for just one doctor. So as we kind of look at this, we want to pull back the curtain, so to say, so you can see, because when you get to our website, all of that math is being done behind the scenes. So Patrick, I thought we would just kind of talk about how we get to that number there, and it's pretty easy. It's no rocket science here. It's just math. That's all it is.
Yeah, but we kind of rounded out the numbers and made them simple, where you could literally punch this into a calculator yourself if you wanted to see how we came up with the numbers.
Yeah, so you've got one doctor over here. Again, they're seeing about 25 patients a day, and then the average amount that they're going to collect from each patient is about $100 per patient, and that's even with Medicare reimbursements are right around in there. So if you got that for that doctor, that's $2,500 a day that the doctor's getting. So remember, you're going to be doing the billing. You're going to be helping that doctor push out claims that are going to average about $2,500 a day, and then remember, your percentage is about 6% of that. So on an average earnings on a daily basis, Patrick, this is not too bad of a number for what we would even consider to be part-time work.
Yeah, and it's actually, folks, when you break it down as to what it would take you to actually put in those claims for that day, it would be less than 90 minutes of time. Eric, we've actually asked that question on webinars, and well, attendees have asked the licensees I'm interviewing, how long does it take you to do a claim? Don't they usually say, I don't know, a couple of minutes at the most?
Yeah.
So it's very realistic, folks. Now, are there other things that you want to be doing in your business? Of course, but we're talking about the actual work you do to earn that $150. That is, I would say, pretty good. Isn't that $50 an hour? No, well, I can't do the math anyway.
Well, even if it was 2 hours a day, that's $75 an hour. So
there you go. Yeah, so let's round that up to 120 minutes. That's $75 an hour. That's pretty good for most people.
That is a pretty good part-time, gig right there, and just working with that one doctor. And even if it took you 2 or 3 months after training, just to make sure that you secure that doctor, once you get there, then you start building from there. Because guess what? Doctors talk with other doctors, and they're going to start sharing your successes with these other doctors, and then obviously one goes from $150 a day to $300 a day. And so
Eric, I've interviewed licensees who told me, Patrick, we just did what you taught us to do in your training. We went through your training. You give us about a dozen different ways to market to the doctors. We did one of those things and got our first doctor, and then all we did was service that doctor really well, and then just ask him at some point, not the first week, of course, but after you've done the billing for a couple of months, you say, Dr. Jones, if I've done a good job, and here's the reports, and you can see I've already increased your revenue by 30%, would you have any other doctors that you might refer us to? And believe me, they're more than happy to do that.
Right. Yeah.
That's how your business grows. Yeah.
Now, remember, folks, this is your webinar. So if you've got any particular questions, I'm kind of monitoring, looking over there. So if you see my eyes look towards the right of my screen over here, I'm looking at some questions, see if there's anything that might come in. So,
yeah. Eric,
yes.
Let me just call out the people who decided they did not want to put anything in the question box to let us know they were hearing us. Because, folks, this is live. I'm going to prove it to you right now. Okay. I say, Johannes, I see your name there. Thomas, Terry, Teresa, Tawana, Stephen, I'm going backwards here. Rosalind, Paul, I don't know who typed in their name there, but I'm naming everybody here. Lupe, Lorenzo, Linwood, Karen, Kalita, Jeff, and like you said, there was another Jeff, and there's Gira, Gary, Ethan, Ed, Denise, Corey, Bruce, and Brock. There. Folks, if you just heard your name and you didn't type something in there, type something in the question box. That'll help you realize that it's live and that the questions you type in, we are going to be reading them. So okay, I see Johannes typed in there. Great. Yep.
Lupe did, and he says, how do you work the setup fees for different charges? And again, those are some of the things, Lupe, that we actually talk very much in detail during our live training workshop. Now, next week, we're actually going to be talking about training and knowing what the best possibility for training is. We may share some of that next week, but we do cover how to do all your setup fees properly. So again, that you're spending really the doctor's money on getting things set up and not your own cash flows. So
hey, Corey's even driving and he typed something in there. Now, don't do that, folks. But he says driving and listening. Okay, Corey, thank you for typing that in.
And then Jeff's asking, how do doctors currently do their billing? That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, Patrick, we know that doctors, they have gone from one thing to the other. I actually met a doctor yesterday that has been with a hospital. Haven't we heard that? Doctors are working for hospitals.
Yeah.
I met one that just started an independent practice back in January. He's trying to get things off the ground. And folks, you're going to see doctors come out from hospitals and go back into, so some may do their own in-house billing. They may have outsourced it. And even if you run across somebody who is already outsourcing their business, stick around, because I promise you, once something's going to happen, the doctor's going to get aggravated with that billing company, and you're going to want to be the top of the mind person there. We've experienced that, Patrick. We've seen that happen with our licensees already.
Well, Eric, when I interview licensees, they tell me, well, look, when I go out in the field, there's only two things doctors are doing to get their billing done. They're either doing it themselves with their own staff, using their own software on their own computers, or they've outsourced it to a billing service that's similar to mine. So, Eric, the question for folks on the webinar today is, how do you think we're signing up dozens of doctors every month from our licensees across the country? If doctors are already doing their billing or having it done? Well, it's because we have a better system, and we prove to the doctor in writing that we can increase their revenue, and we do, and that means a whole lot to a doctor.
You bet. All right, so we're getting back to this because we want to talk with you. Remember that was about $39,000 a year, so we want to complete this math here for you. So again, if you're averaging $150 a day, 5 days a week, you're going to get to $750 a week times 52 weeks. Just do that simple math. That's $39,000 a year. We can't make it any more simple than what we've been able to show you. These are your potential earnings, and that's why we say with just one doctor, you could get your return on investment within the first year.
Yes, look at that, folks. $39,000. That's our license fee is $27,000. So you made money there, and you got your return on your investment in maybe the first 9 months or whatever. The point is, folks, that this is again we're talking about one client. Can you find one doctor in your area? Well, it doesn't have to be in your area either, does it, Eric? I mean, no. It could be outside there. We've had licensees sign up clients all over the United States. How? Well, they sign up one locally. That doctor knows somebody in California. He knows somebody in Florida. And it just grows because you can bill for any doctor in any of the 50 states, folks. Yep. No territories at all.
Ethan's asking the question, would you recommend providing a free trial run to docs as a guaranteed indication that it is advantageous to choose this model? That would be nice to be able to do. It's a good approach, and you're thinking in, progressively. However, whenever you start doing billing for a doctor, when you start doing billing for a doctor, you've got to start moving their insurance from one clearinghouse to another. So trying to do this as a kind of a free trial really, really wouldn't work. So that's why in our training workshop, we're going to teach you how to do what's called a practice analysis. This practice analysis will lay out why our model works better, just simply because it captures more of the money, and that could be reducing their rejection claims, the amount of rejections that they're currently having, getting them paid instead of a 2-week period, having them paid within 7 to 10 days. There's a lot of things there that can certainly be advantageous and show the doctor what you can do prior to even beginning with them.
Yeah. Now, let me just say this, Ethan, because you're thinking like an entrepreneur. In today's world, money-back guarantees are a good thing, right? However, if you think about it, what you can guarantee is that we're going to show them a reduction in their rejection rate, because the average doctor has about 34% of all the claims that are sent through are rejected the first time. Now, because we have the clearinghouse built in to our system, we are the clearinghouse, we have a nationwide guarantee that it's going to be less than 2%. Right. So you can put some guarantees in place, but it wouldn't happen in the first month. Maybe in 3 months, you could say, we're going to look at your numbers. If I haven't done what you said I was going to do, you can tell me to go jump off a bridge and part ways with the doctor if that's what you wanted to do. Yep. But you'll see that does not happen with our licensees, because we do increase the doctor's revenue and lower their rejection rate tremendously.
Yes, you bet. And those are the things that we can actually prove, again, prior to you even getting signed up for anything like that. Bruce here says, hi, I apologize. My wife and I just purchased our license fee Monday. Good for you, Bruce. Good to see that. We are going to start our online training in July. Adam, by the way, has been very helpful through the whole process. At first, my wife and I were going with a competitor. Patrick, you can choose to say that name or not, but
it's right there, ClaimTech. Yeah, it's there's a company called ClaimTech that offers something similar to what we offer. But he says because of Adam, we chose ABS, and we couldn't be more excited. Bruce, we're excited for you. Believe me, we've had people who've checked into ClaimTech, and they have a great billing system, but it was built in 1994 by the guy who owns the business. It comes on a CD, it resides on your hard drive. It's not the way to go in today's world. Cloud-based systems are the only thing that makes sense, and a doctor probably wouldn't even talk to you if they knew that you had their data on your computer in your home office. So good choice.
Yeah, and then the HIPAA violations that could just be lurking around the corner with that. So there's no doubt. So for those that want to have an incredible entrepreneurial spirit, and you go, okay, I saw the one. What if we took that and times 3? What would that kind of look like? Well, I'm glad that was asked. So here we go. So instead of the only number you need to change in this income potential is the number 3. Just leave everything else the same.
Yeah. So you're still doing 25 claims on average in a day. 25 patients is what the doctor's seeing, and you're still charging the 6%. Now let me just say this, folks. We put that 6% in there. But nationwide, we've got licensees charging 7 and 8 and 9%. It depends on the doctor, the specialty, the volume, lots of different. We help you decide how to present that to a doctor. But we're using 6 because that's on the low end. Right. And Eric, to be honest, we probably ought to change that $100. I don't know how you see a doctor nowadays for $100, even get reimbursed for $100. My doctor's $175 for a half-hour visit. So it's just very expensive out there.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's use those numbers. Let's click on submit right there and look at that number. Now, for those that want a 6-figure income, there you have it. And nearly almost $10,000 a month in income.
Yeah. Now, again, if you're not excited about that, then I want to talk to you because anybody who's looking into starting their own business that has the potential, folks, with 3 clients to make $117,000 a year. Eric, let's round that up down. Let's just say it's 100,000. That is a fantastic business. And folks, that's a client that you make that kind of money year after year after year after year. Unless the doctor dies or retires, you're going to continue making that. It's residual income, monthly income that just keeps on going, because the doctor sees 25 patients a day. He might see 40 patients a day if you get him and his staff out of having to do their billing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Paul's got some questions. Real quickly, is the webinar being recorded for review with others? You bet. We record every one of our webinars, so you can always go check it out there on our AB Systems YouTube page. So
and you'll probably get a follow-up email even, Bruce, that has that link to the recording in it.
Yeah. Jamie is asking, what is the average time to get your first doctor? It could be within the first 2 to 3 weeks. It could be within the first 2 to 3 months. Just depends upon you. It really depends upon your activity. You got to remember that if you're starting this business, there's not a doctor in town that knows who you are right now. However, when you get through our training, you're going to find out all of the marketing techniques, every proprietary marketing technique that we have, you're going to get. And some are going to work better than others depending upon where you are. So that's why we have this average out there. It can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months to get your first doctor. But once you've got that first doctor, then you are going down that path of getting more doctors, because again, doctors are going to talk to other doctors. And so the second one could come quickly after the first one.
Yeah, Eric, can you pause your showing the slides just for a second so they can see this up close? I'm going to hold up a couple of tools that we're going to give you as a part of your training and as a part of our package. I don't know if you can see those, but they're 2 books. One of them is written, well, they're both written by Dr. Vicki Rackner. There's her name right here at the bottom of this one. And they're both used as marketing tools. Now, Eric, you know that we've designed this book so that right on the back cover, along with Dr. Vicki's blurb there's a space that we print their name and logo and contact information. So it's a great little book to hand out. And then there's this one, which was co-authored by yours personally. There it is, Patrick Phillips and Vicki Rackner. And it has a place where you can actually put your name on the front cover, having written the forward. Now, we've actually got a forward that's written if you want to use ours, or you can write your own. And then your contact information is right inside the book at the end of the forward. So folks, if you're wondering, how do I build credibility when I'm just opening a brand new office? You tell people, I just opened a brand new office. I'm a part of the nation's largest network of medical revenue managers. I've been certified by the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. And here's a book that by a doctor that I am a part of. And folks, you basically partner with Dr. Vicki Rackner. She's a retired general surgeon that's well known all over the country for having written books. She speaks all over the country to different doctors groups, and you're a partner with her when you become a part of ABS.
You bet, absolutely. Yeah. So Jamie, hopefully that kind of shares some of the information about what we do to help you get that client and get that client as quickly as possible. Let me see if I can show the screen back here again. And Patrick, are you getting a phone call?
Yes, that's the #1 rule about having a live webinar. Turn off your phone.
All right, so folks, there it is, $117,000 with just 3 doctors. So now what we're going to do, we're going to even make it even a little bit more interesting, because we have all of these other services, and each one of these services can bring a certain amount of monthly income. And a lot of this, you're not doing the billing for. This is what you would think of as just kind of what people call mailbox money, things that just keep coming in a little bit at a time, trickling in that money.
Yeah, look, folks, these are all optional. You don't have to offer these services, but they're a part of our package. You don't pay extra for them. They're in your license that we've licensed to you. All of these services that are what we call ancillary services to our billing. Of course, billing's where the big money is, but every one of these will make you money. And the great thing is, Eric, is that they open the doors for them, don't they? Some of these get you in to actually make that connection. If you're wondering, how do I set up a meeting with a doctor? They're busy. They don't want to talk about their billing. They'll want to talk about some of these things. Eric, why don't you talk about some of those?
Yeah, let's get started off with the first one, Quick Collect. So folks, obviously, when you walk into a doctor's office, you need to have more than just that you're walking in and saying, hey, I'm the new medical billing company in town. We're going to teach you how to use each one of these as a potential door opener to get you involved in talking. Patrick, I want to kind of do a little sidebar here, because you and I have been talking over the last few weeks, and what people think what they need after they leave training, they think that they need a client. But folks, what you really need are leads that gets you to clients. And
Right.
so what you need is someone to talk with you at that doctor's office. And so what we're trying to do, if anything, is to get you to get some dialogue with the potential office manager. Because once you begin to involve yourself with that office manager and you start to develop relationships with that, that starts opening up new doors within inside of that practice. So you may lead in or get the attention of the office manager by dealing with what's called quick collect. And we know that nobody wants to be sent to collections. So Patrick, I don't know about you. I don't know if you've ever gotten a collection letter from a doctor, but that kind of seems like the lowest of the low. You get a collection letter from the doctor.
Yeah.
There's a little bit better way of doing that through quick collect.
Yes, folks, this is an automated online system that does it all for you behind the scenes. In other words, it is a cloud-based system that's actually working for you and for the doctor to collect that money without upsetting the patients.
Yes.
It's just an amazing system. And as you can see, it actually has been proven to collect 3 times what collections agencies would normally collect. That's because of the way we do it. So again, you can ask your business coach here at ABS that you've been talking with about that service in detail. But Eric, let's talk about the money that can be made from this one.
Yeah, you bet. Let's look at that. So if you had 3 doctors, just those 3 doctors that we're talking about, each with 24 counts per doctor per month. So that's that's 72 accounts a month that are going through helping that doctor collect on old money. That's what we're trying to do. So once those money start coming into play, you're getting $7.50 per account on that money collected. So think about it. You got $7.50 times 72 accounts. That's $540 a month of residual income. And Patrick, again, as a licensee, I don't do anything except sign that doctor up, and then they put the accounts in there. And I promise you, each one of these doctors has at least 24 people or patients that probably need to pay that doctor, whether it's deductibles or whatever, just past due accounts that need to be collected on.
Right. So again, folks, this is over and above what you can make doing the billing for the doctor. And how many doctors probably have patients that owe them money, Eric? I would say most of them, right? Because there's always out-of-pocket costs that insurance doesn't cover. And there are some people who don't have insurance, and of course they owe the whole amount. So this allows the doctor to go out and get that past due money without spending a lot of money on it. It's a wonderful bottom line addition to the doctor's revenue.
You bet. And folks, you might be thinking $540 a month, that's not a lot. But folks, that might be for you your car payment to begin with. I mean, it's just money that you can't stumble over the pennies to make the big dollars. So that's what we're trying to share with you here.
Hey,
all right. So
I tell you what, it's probably a nice vacation each year for somebody. That would cover a nice vacation.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So the next one is called AutoCard, and AutoCard is an automated system that you can work yourself and help the doctor, because I like it, Patrick, whenever I get a birthday card or a reminder card from our doctor. And this is one of those things that can be automatically done through here. And again, this too can be a money-making thing, because each card that gets sent out, you're making $1 on each of those cards that are going out. So if you've got 300 doctors, three doctors with about 200 patients on AutoCard, that's 600 cards being mailed out per month. That's $1 a card, $600 a month in residual income. That's another $7,200 a year once you've got this doctor started upon that.
And let me emphasize that all of these services we're talking about, we call it mailbox money because, folks, once you've got the doctor set up on a system like that, you're not doing anything to earn that $600 a month in this case. It's automatic and it's residual in that it happens every single month. And this is for only 3 doctors with only 200 patients. There's some doctors that have 1,000 patients. So it's a great way to keep the doctor in touch with their patients without them having to do a thing.
Then you've got iDocs Now. There's not a person on this webinar or that will listen to this webinar later on that you haven't been in a doctor's office and you see these cabinets going one way and another set of cabinets going another way, full of these patient records. And folks, just imagine that a doctor has to keep every single document on their patients at a minimum of 7 years. So if they not currently on some type of electronic medical records platform, some EMR or some EHR, they have to house that. So what you can do is use iDocs Now and help clear some of that out and have it residing on a secured HIPAA compliant server.
Yeah, but this is not just records like you could use Dropbox for just storing records, right? Folks, this is a true document management system, which means the doctor can actually find, by searching any keyword in the document, it can actually find all of these documents for those patients. So wait till you see this demonstrated. This one's hard to explain, Eric, because people think, oh, well, you've got all kinds of places to store documents. Not like this, folks. Right. This is a tremendous way to not have to worry about filing, things get misfiled and lost, and how do you ever find them? This is a wonderful system that will make you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the doctors save them a lot of money too.
You bet. So here you go. Here's what you can make on that. If you had 3 doctors on iDocs Now and you're earning about $100 per month for the doctor being on that service, that's $100 a month times 3 doctors. Again, pretty easy math here, $300 a month in residual income. Again, $3,600. Now, we will bring a complete total to all of this here in just a little bit. Yep. Then you have Audit Guard.
Hey, Eric, before we go into Audit Guard, can we just talk about some of the questions that I see here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Paul's asking one about our service. What do we use to host the iClaim system? Paul, again, we have our own secure servers in 3 different locations in the United States. These are HIPAA compliant, which means they must be secured physically and otherwise from hackers to be HIPAA compliant, right? And so you never have to worry about the servers, because what happens is if one server went down, let's say there's a fire, an earthquake, or whatever, it blows up, then we switch immediately over to one of the other backup servers, which are redundant. That means all the data is in the same 3 places at the same time. So you never have to worry about that. In 20 years, we've never lost any data on any of these servers. That is a good question if you're a nerd. Where is it hosted? But you can, hey, if you want to go, once you become a licensee, we'll let you go visit some of those locations if you'd like to see how secure they are. I mean, they got to scan your iris and take your thumb off and use your firstborn son and all kinds of stuff to get into them. Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. Yeah. Gary's asking, do you provide ongoing support for your licensees? Yeah, as long as you're a licensee, you have a lifetime of support.
Yeah, and Gary, it's not limited to a year like other companies, or 2 years or 3. Be sure and ask, what happens after that support for the first year ends? How much more is it going to be for the next year? Sometimes that adds up pretty fast. We don't ever charge anything. Once you've paid our license fee, you are an ABS licensee. And here's a little behind the scenes I'm going to share, Eric, that I've never shared this on every webinar, at least, that these services we're talking about, folks, we as a company make a few pennies off of all these transactions. Yeah. So we don't have to charge you for support because we're making money if you're making money.
Yeah. All right. You want to take one more question here?
Yes. Karen says, do you have a database that consists of healthcare providers in each state? Karen, yes. We have that database. We also can show you where you can find one if you just want to buy one, recent one out there on your own. But I think the people ask that, and Karen, maybe I misread you on this, but some people ask that because they think that we have a database of doctors who are ready to sign up. If we had that, we wouldn't need you, right? As a company, we'd just sign them up. But we're going to show you how to find the doctors in your area that you can then contact using our automated marketing systems that we teach you to find out whether there's any interest there, and then do that practice analysis with them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's get back to some of these services. We've got Audit Guard. Now, Audit Guard, for those, again, who are concerned about coding, this is one of those areas that help put that ease for you. Folks, we know that every doctor will see Medicare patients, and every doctor is under some type of microscope and making sure that they're not going overboard with their coding, which means that they're trying to get more money than what they actually have documentation for. So what Audit Guard does, we'll take a look at that kind of forensically and make sure that the doctors are within the boundaries of where they need to be according to their notes. If they're not, then we get those adjusted and get those fixed, because I promise you, if a doctor is charging too much, it's not going to take too long for that insurance or Medicare to go, you know what, we know that you really aren't seeing a patient that long, so we want some of that money back. And those insurance companies will start taking some of that money back.
Medicare actually engages with private companies to go out and do these audits.
Yes.
And that they have a financial incentive because they get a percentage of all those fees that are charged. So what we're talking about is if let's say a doctor is visiting, has 5 different levels of visits. This is basically based on the time and what the doctor does during those visits. If he's billing all of those as his top level so he can get more money, he's going to be caught and fined up to $10,000 for each infraction. Eric, this could bankrupt some doctors, no matter how rich they are, right? So the point is, folks, this is a great service for you to offer because the doctors are scared of being audited by these Medicare auditors, and this protects them from that. And you can make money at it too.
Yep, you can make money at it. So that's Audit Guard. So that's just a safe thing for the doctors. But again, kind of looking at this, we're looking at our time as well. But you kind of see that if you had each of these 3 doctors have 50 charts reviewed. Now, again, remember how many people does a doctor see in a day? 25. So we're talking about maybe 2 days worth of charts being reviewed per month. That would be $900 for each review. Those 3 doctors are going to be having that looked over, and then that could generate for you another $10,800 a year for you. And again, you're not doing the work. This is our group of certified professional coders that are actually doing the reviews for you, and then actually not only doing the reviews, but making that presentation to the doctor. And that kind of goes right hand in hand with CodeWrite. CodeWrite does a lot of the day in and day out coding. So again, Patrick, here's another one that could just be making money without really you doing any billing at all whatsoever.
Yeah, most people that look into our business are concerned about codes because they know there's all kinds of codes. In fact, there's courses you can take to become certified professional coders, right? Well, folks, you don't have to. Those codes are all built into our cloud-based system and kept up to date by our certified medical coders behind the scenes. And if you need to engage with a certified medical coder, we've got this service that allows the doctor to tell you, ask you questions about their coding, their current coding, and you pass that by our coders who then can do reports and make some charts and things that basically make sure that the doctor's not over coding. Right. But some doctors undercode, and so we can bring more money to the table if we find that when we do the review.
Yeah. And again, if you've got 400 reviews, again, a doctor is seeing 25 patients a day. That would get there pretty quickly. So if there's 1,200 reviews total between those 3 doctors, again, that could be $600 a month in just generated revenue for you. That's another $7,200 a year utilizing ChoicePay. Now, we're going to get ready to just share the totals here. Here's all the totals. So if you took iClaim, Quick Collect, Audit Guard, iDocs Now, Audit Guard, CodeWrite, matched all of that up with the other doctors there. That's $152,000 a year for you. With the majority of that money, you're not even doing anything for it. You've introduced the doctor, you've got them signed up, and it starts automatically generating that type of income for you.
And folks, remember, this is based on 3 doctors. Hopefully you have a bigger goal than that. There's more than 3 doctors in your area that need your help. We've got licensees that have signed up literally dozens of doctors. One licensee recently signed up a group of 80 doctors in one group. So this can be as big as you want it to be, folks, or you can keep it small. If you can't live on $152,000 in today's economy, something's wrong.
Something's very wrong with that. All right, so here's a question that, as Patrick, we've got about 15 minutes left. All right, so but doesn't the doctor already have billers? Now that kind of went along with a question that we had earlier, and already anticipating that we might be asking that question, we're actually asking that question right now. So Patrick, why in the world would a doctor even want to outsource to me?
Well, that's a great question, because the doctor is not focused on what his core competency is. Look, he went to medical school, or she did, to learn how to take care of patients. They didn't learn how to run a business. And that's why if you ask people who work for doctors, how good a businessman or woman is your doctor, they'll laugh because they're not very good business people. They should not be focused on something that is not their core competency. They're not competent to do the billing for Medicare and insurance companies and patients. You are trained to do that. Besides, it costs money. Look, market analysts estimate that 24 cents out of every dollar are wasted on the administrative and billing expenses. Now, Eric, our licensees only charge 6 to 7, 8, 9%. So 24% of every dollar is wasted, according to the New England Journal of Medicine. So, folks, you can save them money. That's one reason they'll want to outsource to you. And look, we've got even that broken down in a chart here. This one is one worth taking a look at, folks, because if you want to enlarge your screen there so you can see these numbers better, I know it's kind of tiny in that chart, but this is a study that we did based on real doctors, what they would spend by outsourcing their costs. If they outsource it to you, they're only going to spend $31,200. If they keep it in-house, they've got all kinds of hidden costs there that we've broken down in this chart. Get the printout over there. It's in the handout section. I just put that in there a while ago. You can get that and look at these more carefully. But basically, it boils down to this. They can save 52% on their billing by outsourcing it to you. That is, it's 48% less expensive to outsource because of the money that they spend internally for their software, their upgrades, their computers, their IT guy, and their employees, of course, doing all the billing.
Yeah.
So we save them money. That's the bottom line. If you were a doctor and you saw those two figures, which one would you want to spend on your billing?
Yeah, and that's the cost. That, when you move from in-house to outsource billing, there's also an increase of revenue. So not only is the doctor paying a little bit less of the cost, they're actually gaining more money here on the other end as well. So these are questions: why would a doctor even want to outsource to me? The other one is that these claim rejections keep mounting up. Patrick, I mean, we've heard from some of our licensees. We both experienced it working and talking with doctors that the amount of rejected claims happens so often that the doctors can't even keep up with it.
Yeah, it's nationwide. It's about 34% are rejected. Folks, if we can bring that down like we can, less than 2%, do you see the difference there? It's about 32% difference, right? That means that much more money is what you're collecting for the doctor. And they love that. Bottom line, we've increased doctors' revenue so much that they've said, you know what, I was thinking about going to work for a group, and now I'm ready to outsource my billing and stay in practice myself. So we have a whole article on that, by the way, that's on our website there. I think the link is down there at the bottom of the article, which is hard to read here. But if you get the printout, you'll be able to look that up yourself. This is by a fellow who wrote an article for a magazine, and he talks about all these figures we just talked about right here in this article.
You bet. I mean, he said it's not unusual for to have rejection rates at 35% or higher. So folks, again, it's all over the board whenever it comes to that. And a lot of doctors will say, oh, my rejection rate's down less than 2%. What they don't recognize a lot of times is that they're only thinking about one section where some claims might get rejected. There's actually two places where a claim can get rejected, one at the clearinghouse and one at the insurance. Now, we have just maybe speaking total Greek to you right now. So we can just simplify it in saying that there's two areas in which we have found where we can get that rejection rate less than 2% at both areas. So when you do that, obviously there's more money that's coming in for the doctors. Another reason why a doctor would use you is because you're going to actually do a practice analysis. And we talked about that earlier, because when you start doing a deep dive into a doctor's office, this is like the doctor examining you. You go in and say, doctor, I've got all these pains and I don't feel well. I can't figure it out. I've worked with other doctors. They can't figure it out. And finally, you get to a doctor that spends time with you. This is what you as a potential medical billing revenue management company will do for the doctor before you start doing their billing. Patrick, do you want to kind of talk through this questionnaire here?
This is iced tea. I've been accused of drinking something stronger than that on these webinars because of my energy level, but it's just iced tea. Maybe it's the Could be the caffeine. Okay, so folks, we've put a lot of time and effort over the years developing this questionnaire that will teach you how to get an appointment. You're actually asking this usually to the office manager because she or he knows all the answers to these questions. And we get the information. Then we go back to the office, and with a special spreadsheet software that we've got set up for you, we plug those numbers in, and it prints out a report that shows exactly the difference between having the doctor do it in-house versus outsourcing to you. And again, I know that's tiny to look at there, but folks, that chart on the right there is basically showing that this particular doctor, we can increase their revenue. You see that bottom line? That's 321,000 something. It's a lot.
Well, now this is $27,000 a month. I mean, that's almost $27,000 more dollars a month in their pocket.
Yes. So not only did we save the doctor the cost of doing it in-house with his own staff and his own computers and software, we've actually brought up their revenue 17%.
Right.
That's a huge bottom line number for a doctor. And even if you can tell the doctor, if I could just do half that, would you be happy? Of course they would.
Of course.
That would be 160,000.
Yes.
Hey, couple of questions. Let me hit these real fast, Eric.
Yep,
Karen,
yep.
How many doctors can one person handle realistically? Realistically, here's what we found in real life from licensees. You'll hear this on the interviews. If you listen to some of our interviews out there on our YouTube channel, you'll find out, Karen, that when you get to about a handful, literally, when you get to this number, doing them personally, if they were the numbers that you saw earlier that we gave you on example doctors, you'd be going, you know what? I'm tired of doing this. I can find somebody who can do this billing, and they can work remotely. You can teach them how to do it remotely, just using GoToMeeting, just like we're using this technology here today to look at you. You could look at their screen. You can actually train people remotely to do this billing for you. So you can add people, and this kind of, wait, she has one more question. Karen says, how do you handle billing platform upgrades? She means software upgrades, folks. That's all done through the cloud. So the nice thing is that every time you log into your bank to do your online banking, doesn't it all look different from time to time? Well, they've upgraded it behind the scenes. When you log in, you're seeing the latest upgrade. Karen, that's how we do it. We do that, and usually it's done in the middle of the morning, 3 a.m. or something like that, where we'll shut down for about 15 minutes and just upgrade, and then boom, you're back in business. So every time you log in, you're looking at the latest version. There are no downloads and upgrades and patches and all that stuff with CD-based software. This is all done through the cloud. Okay.
All right, so let's kind of start wrapping up here. We thought we would kind of share with you real briefly what you would be doing to make this living. What would you be doing to make this type of money? So let's kind of just talk about that. So what you're going to have, like Patrick said, we're going to have a true cloud base. We're not talking about some web connection through a VPN or anything else like that. We're talking about a true URL that you're going to go to, which means that it's computer agnostic, which means that you don't have to have a Windows or you don't have to have a Mac to use this. You just need to use Google Chrome or Safari or one of the Firefox, whatever you might be using to actually run the software, because it's going to run on the browser. So this is a complete, true web-based system. It has 4 components to it: your practice management system, your electronic medical records, clearinghouse, and a patient portal. Everything is engaged in this cloud-based system. So really what's happening is when the doctor is seeing their patients and they're using our EMR system, instead of having on a piece of paper, that gets transmitted via electronically over into the computer system. Again, it's a web-based platform, so you're seeing it as the doctor is seeing it. Imagine being able to bill in real time. That the doctor gets through seeing a patient, you may be watching, and all of a sudden you start to see that patient go through the system, and then you start processing the claim, and you can see that the clearinghouse is right involved in the middle. So as the doctor is seeing patients, they're putting it in the EMR system, it gets over to you to do the billing, and it finally gets out to those insurance companies. Patrick, just a few more seconds here, but as we go through this, how to enter a charge, I'm going to show you exactly that without having to do a long demonstration. If you'd like to see a demonstration live for yourself, get back with the business coach that you're working with, and they'll do one for you. So underneath the iClaim, underneath billing, it says enter charges. We're going to enter professional claim charges. And I've already got what's called a diagnosis code down here on the left-hand side. You might see it's a little small for you, but it says cough there. So that's what's for that patient. Then the doctor is seeing the patient for a 15-minute visit. This is that level 3 visit, maybe gave a shot there. You can see $114 and another $14 for the shot. And then when you get through it, you click on create claim, and then poof, voila, you have processed a claim. So it really can be that easy. And once you've got it in our system, if it takes you more than 30 seconds, that's can probably take you, not even that long to end up processing a claim. So Patrick, we're kind of wrapping up here. We got 5 more minutes. We've gone through as much as I think we can on really kind of how much money you can be making as a medical revenue manager.
Yeah, I know that's a lot to absorb, folks. And remember, we do these webinars live every Wednesday. And so if we didn't answer all your questions today, we're sorry that we can't get to all of them, but we will get back with you on each one of those. I would like to try to answer some of those other questions, Eric. You want to talk about our guarantee? Just to kind of wrap it up here, folks, we do what we call virtual training workshops now. And if you want to go through one of those virtual training workshops, you can. If for any reason you don't think this business is right for you, simply just tell any of our members, staff members, and they'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. And we do that, folks, because we know what we have. Any company that would sell you a business opportunity or a franchise without giving you a guarantee that it's what you say it is, and you'll know by the end of the training, you'll know whether it's right or not for you. That kind of ties in with somebody's question here about what Ethan says, what's the grace period to determine if the business model is a fit? Well, I just told you what it is. Go through our training, and if you don't think it's what you thought it was going to be, it's not a good fit for you, we give all your money back. That's pretty good. I don't know of anybody else who does that. Well, right. Nobody does that I know of.
Yeah. All right. So Thomas is asking, what if they don't use our EMR system? That's okay. If they're using some other EMR system, they like what they're using, it can be interfaced through what's called an HL7 interface. There's a little bit of monthly maintenance that will have to go with that. But if they want to keep using their own EHR, that's not a problem. Obviously, if we can get them on our EMRX, which is our EMR system, and that's even better because that will certainly speed things up and actually cost a little bit less than that too as well.
Gary says, does your system work only for doctors or does it work for dental offices, etc.? Gary, there's a big deception going on out there for companies who are telling you that the dental market is a market. It is not a market. Well, let me back up. Of course, there's dentists who do medical billing, their own medical billing, but that's not a market for you. If you think about it, very few people have dental insurance. Very few people go to the dentist nowadays compared to doctors, right? And so the dentists are always coming up with these new cosmetic things and other stuff that they can bill for. There is a billing software platform that we have access to. We can give you access to do billing for dentists, but why would you go after that tiny market versus the medical doctors that are out there? So here's what I tell people, Gary, go out and sign up all the doctors in your area first. That's where the money is. That's where the big money is. And then if you run out of doctors, you could sign up dentists if you want to. It's right. Just that that's not the platform that we've been talking to you about today because, well, we just train people on the medical billing platform because that's where the money is.
Yeah. Corey, I think, is the last question that we have on here that I can see.
Yeah, and Corey's asking if the doctor needs the same software as ABS. Well, here's the hard part for you to wrap your brain around, Corey, for most people, and that is that our system is cloud-based. That means if the doctor has a computer, any kind of computer, if they use a browser to get onto the internet, all of them do, then they can log in. You, as the administrator of the system for that doctor's practice, can give the doctor a login and the staff, if you wish, to certain parts of our system. So yes, they're using the exact same system. In fact, they're looking at the same data that you're looking at in real time. Right. Yeah, that's the hard thing. But there's nothing to download or install on the computer on the doctor's office at all. Unlike other companies we've mentioned today that actually have you install a piece of software on the doctor's computer, some of it's on your computer, then you use a third piece of software to combine the two and connect the two through your own server. It's a nightmare compared to our system.